The following program is rated TVMA. What you are about to watch contains explicit language, adult themes, violence, and may not be suitable for viewers under 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Welcome to the What the Nuts podcast that explores the strange and mysterious and unexplained. Join us as we delve into the unknown and bring light to the bizarre stories and phenomena that leaves us scratching our heads in disbelief. From Florida man to ghost sightings, from psychic abilities to UFO encounters, we cover it all. Each episode will bring you thought-provoking discussion, intriguing insight into the mysteries that surround us. So buckle up. Get ready to take the wild ride into the unknown with What the Nuts. This week, like I said, this week we're talking about a little something different this week. I thought I'd bring on a buddy of mine, PB Blaster. That way he could share some insight, and I have a few interesting questions I wanted to ask him about being a mechanic. So he's a mechanic full time. As you guys know, I'm also a blue collar guy. So let's go ahead and bring him in and say hello to the peoples.
Hey, I'm
There you
PB.
go. There you go. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm PB. I'm a head GM technician, mechanic.
All right.
And um, so what's some of those questions you have?
All right. So recently I've gone down this fucking rabbit hole on the TikTok and the YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually mechanics. It's like, yeah, customer states.
Yes, it's every RO, every paperwork I touch for every car, it's customer states.
Right. So customer states, car won't start. Or what was it? What was one of them? Oh, radio panel is black, right?
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah.
mechanic gets in the car and he goes, "All right, let's check this out." Cuts the
Okay.
fucking car on, goes over to the radio, hits the power button, the fucking radio comes on, and the light and the things.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not the same as the radio, but it was probably in April, I'd say. I put a turbo on like a 2018 Buick Encore 1.4 liter.
Mm-hmm.
Put a turbo on it. The guy lives like an hour and a half from the dealer I work at. I don't know why he brought it to us, but he did. Well, his wife did. So she dropped the car off that morning. I put the turbo on it. It calls for like 6 hours to replace it, but I've done enough of them and I'm pretty fast. I can do them in like three. I put the turbo on it, get done, test drive it. Everything's good. Tell them it's A-OK. Tell my manager to call the person so they can come pay and pick up their vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
She come paid, picked up her vehicle, drove an hour and a half home, and then as soon as she got home, her husband got in it and brought it back. They said I messed up their air conditioner. They got back. They asked me to check it out, so I went out there, started the car, seen the switch was all the way in the blue, and the fan was all the way up. They drove it all the way back because they didn't press the AC button. But in those cars, it looks like a snowflake instead of saying AC.
Right.
They thought they didn't have air conditioner because they didn't turn the compressor on. So they didn't have air, but they drove an hour and a half back because they didn't press one button.
That's that's funny. That So here's a funny story. So I drive big trucks, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in an older big truck, right? And I'm thinking, yeah, this is like my old pickup. The AC works the same, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
So I go to my boss and I'm like, "Hey man, I don't know what's going on with my fucking AC, man. It's fucking 100 degrees and it's just fucking blowing hot air." He goes, "Did you turn the valves off?" I go, "What fucking valves, dude? What are you talking about? Valves. Turn the valves off." So we walk out to my truck and we turn it on and he's like, "Okay, see these two valves right here? These run the coolant to the heater core. And whether the AC is on or not, you're going to get hot air."
Where's the older truck, and you just wasn't used to that?
Do you know that I felt so fucking dumb because I was like, everything, like, okay, so we went through the whole winter and I had nice heat in the whole truck. And then come summertime, I'm like, why is it so fucking hot? I'm like, dude, we're going to have to send my truck in. We're going to have to send my truck in. I mean, I got to have air conditioner. You know, I'm a fat guy. I got to have air conditioner. And when he fucking showed me that, I was like, God damn it, I feel so stupid. I feel so dumb. But so that happened to me. It kind of made me okay, all right, you know, because I'm not driving like a 2023 or nothing like that. I'm driving like was it 2008? Yeah, it's an older one, bro. It's like nothing's digital in it at all. Nothing is digital. You know, like everything nowadays is all digital. So, um,
So in modern day, even big, I don't work on big trucks, obviously.
right.
I can, I just don't. um, so modern day big trucks are all digital, like cars are too.
Yes.
Huh? That's
Yes.
cool.
Yes. Okay. Now the older big trucks, they still have the was it the PCM, the power control module, the computer of the truck,
Yep.
right? So you can still plug to it and you can check different sensors and whatnot.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but what I meant is like a interior, like a digital
Oh, dude,
cluster, digital radio.
yes. I mean, it's like the cat. Some of them are like the Cadillacs. Like you remember a lot of the 1980s Cadillacs. They were the first ones that had like all digital stuff in them.
Yeah.
You know, like power doors and power windows and all that. Basically, that's how big trucks are now.
Hell yeah.
My truck still has a crank for the fucking window. Some of them have air where you have a switch on the dash and it goes up and down with the air. So they won't go up and down if you don't have the truck aired up.
Okay.
Yeah. In that vein, what kind of vehicle what vehicle would be the worst to work on? Like, okay, let's say I'm Joe Schmo, right? I work on my own vehicles. What vehicle should I stay away from?
Um. Okay. Volvo.
Okay,
Volvo's pretty bad.
that's what I was gonna that's what I was gonna suggest.
Volvo, Mini Coupe. I love Mini Coopers myself, but
Mm.
man, they're a pain in the dick to work on.
Mm.
Now on the GM domestic side, stay away from like the Buick Cascada because GM had a buyback on those where they tried to buy back all of them, but some people wouldn't. There's they suck.
Mm.
In general, they suck.
Okay.
There is. I've seen a lot of problems here lately out of the from 2020 to modern to this year of the 3.0 LM2 Baby Duramax they're putting in the 1500 trucks. They are terrible. The wiring harnesses are terrible, and the engines. GM just put out a bulletin on the engine replacement.
Mm.
Yeah.
So is that like a covered like a recall or is that like
It's a special coverage. If their engine shits out, they automatically get a free one. And
oh
the engine's like 12 grand.
so like so if my engine fucking shit out and I didn't go to a fucking dealer, then I'm screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So those are the ones to stay away from. Let's say I'm a tinkerer, right? And me, I'll admit, I had okay, so I had a 76 1500.
Yeah.
I
The
loved working
smart
on that.
body.
I loved the square body. I
Was
loved
it a good
dude.
wrench 350?
Dude, I could sit well, I don't yes. Yes, it was. It was 4 barrel carb. Uh but I could sit in the fucking in the wheel wells and work on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, you can't even get up there, and you're like, "Fucking, what's all this shit in the way? Why is this? You know, there's like fucking wires and fucking harnesses and straps and this and that. And I would have, in my opinion, that was a good time right back, back then, because you had room, you could fucking do stuff to your car or your truck.
Well, you gotta think now. There's the cars ran by computers, and when I say computers, I probably mean like 60 to 100 of them, depending.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
60 to 100 computers. Right.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. It's not just, you don't just have like one Dell laptop running the whole freaking show. You've got 60 of them.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Just trying to clarify that, because a lot of people, they don't think of it like that. You know what I mean? Like you just, most people are just like, hey, I'm just gonna freaking go cut the key on, drive down the street, drive back. I don't give a shit what's going on under the hood. But there are guys like me that are like, okay, I got a little bit of, my headlights are dimming when I fucking stop at a red light. I understand that there's something going on with the charging system or something like that, right? So I'm more cognizant of what's going on with my vehicle than most folks, I
yeah.
would say. Most folks are like, shit, it's broke. I'm on the side of the road somewhere, so I got to get it fucking towed. But anyways, where I was going with that was,
Hmm.
what is easier to take care of, like, for the home mechanic. No, I'm not talking about like transmission or fucking shit like that.
Okay,
I mean, like, for a guy who's willing to change his own plugs, a guy who's willing to do his own oil changes, that kind of stuff. And I'm not,
okay. You want my honest opinion on for modern day people?
yeah,
For modern day people that really don't know how to work on stuff or have the ability to do so,
right.
buy a Toyota. They're the least problematic cars that are made.
I concur, because
Um,
I know a dude who had it was a 80, I want to say 85 Toyota pickup.
buy a Toyota. I don't know if all Hyundai and Kia is like this, but the Kia dealership that's by here,
Mm-hmm.
it comes with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty when you buy a brand new one. So if anything happens, you get that bitch towed there, and you don't worry about it.
Oh wow.
20-year, 200,000 miles. You might pay a little bit more,
Yeah.
but 20 years, who cares?
Right.
You know what's going to happen if I have a car and it has a warranty for 20 years?
Hmm.
I'm going to treat it like a redheaded stepchild. You know what I mean?
look, look. My first car, I think I had it for 10, and then I blew it up on the interstate. But dumbass. I did some bullshit. I was racing with it. I shouldn't have been.
I get that.
Yeah.
My last car, I still have it. My last work car, I used for work. I had
Hmm.
for 7 years. I put 150,000 miles on it. The car's got over 250,000 miles on it now. It is a 2009 Ford Focus.
Dude,
That
my pickup's about to hit 200,000.
okay.
Yeah, I know where you're.
That is the best car I have ever owned. I've had to do a water pump, a power steering pump, and front end work. That is it.
Oh
I've never
wow.
had to do nothing internally on the engine or on the transmission.
Hmm.
It has never left me stranded on the side of the road. And I have drove this thing. I mean, I got this car when I was 18.
Oh wow. You've had it a minute.
Yeah, I'm
Damn.
25. I've had it 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a long life for a car, because I believe the average is like 4 or 5 years that someone hangs onto a car and then gets rid of it.
Yep. You know what the average they say the average lifespan of a vehicle is?
What's that?
From the date the vehicle is built, the car is only expected to last 7 to 11 years
7
before
to
hitting
11.
a
Wow.
Yep.
Well, then my little 2000, I think it's a 2008, is about ready to die.
Yep. According to most dealerships, I mean, The car I have now, that Mazda Protege 5, it's older. It's a little hatchback,
Yeah.
but it has 140,000 miles on it. A little bit of performance parts. It's getting ready having a lot of bit of performance parts.
Is
I
it
have,
a manual or automatic?
yeah, it's manual.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't drive autos. I do, but I'd rather drive a manual. Um,
Yeah, I know how that is. I
I
wish
have
everybody could learn how to drive that shit.
I have all the parts coming in. They're supposed to be on their way. I just
Nice.
dropped I just dropped $1,700 in parts on part of it and on the turbo kit,
Oh wow.
and then there's about $1,000 in engine internals that's on the way too.
You gonna take it out to the track and race it?
Okay. Um,
You're like, no.
there may be some days where I take it out there and
I'm
just see
gonna
what it'll do on the strip. But
I'm gonna do it on the highway where I can race the cops.
so off subject, but you was talking about that. Off subject. Last week, my grandmother, um, she had a stroke. Well, she had some problems, and she had like 24 strokes in 24 hours.
Ooh.
She literally had a stroke almost every hour. She had a blood clot in her brain that was bouncing around.
Mm-hmm.
She's in
I'm
the
sorry to hear
hospital.
that, bud.
Oh, she's okay now. They was able to give her the medicine to break the blood clot up and stuff.
Oh, okay, good, good.
But I was driving my car an hour away. Well, my work's 30 minutes, and the hospital's like 45 minutes from my work in the opposite direction of my house.
Okay.
I made it when everything happened. I made it from my work to the hospital in 22 minutes.
Dude, that's fucking cooking. That's fucking cooking,
banging,
bro.
banging a $1.35, $1.40 all the way there. But the amazing part is, I broke 120 miles an hour every day, and I'll use $35 in gas in 7 days.
That's one thing I like about my truck. I'm gonna tell you that. I have to concur. I don't drive my truck that hard because it's older, you know. But that's one thing I do like about um your car and my truck is we're able because it's a manual transmission, we're able to control how much fuel we use.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's crazy, bro. Fucking hey, you're
Well,
like I don't care if I lose my car. I'm just getting there to see my grandma.
yeah, another fact of it is I'm driving it like this, banging it off the red line because if the engine's gonna blow, I want it to blow now before I put so much money in it. It's not funny, so I can see the weak parts.
Right. Right. Well, would you okay, so in that case, let's say it blows, right? Let's say you
Yeah.
blow a head gasket or whatever, you throw a rod, whatever. Would you rebuild it
Uh,
or would
I
you
would.
swap it?
Okay, here's the thing. The engine that come in my car originally is not in there. I matched the serial numbers up. The engine that's in it is off a Japanese Protege 5, a JDM, which makes
Oh.
more power, so it's the better engine.
Mhm.
If the block was savable, I would rebuild it completely, or I would go buy another JDM
Right.
P5 motor.
Right.
Because those cars only have, I think, like 130 horsepower from factory. With the JDM, it's pushing like 190. Then the turbo kit I ordered for that comes with the tuner and everything, it's supposed to make 485 with just the turbo kit, but I'm afraid my stock internals, the pistons and rods will not hold it and they'll melt.
Right.
So I'm changing all that out to some lower compression pistons.
Okay.
Um, I'm putting some cams in there for a turbo, but I am doing something on this car that I've talked to several mechanics that,
Mhm.
uh, as far as I know, it's never been done to a vehicle. So my car has uh, a computer just for the engine, a ECU.
Right.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I have to buy a ECU that I can program for tuning. But
Right.
I'm gonna buy two. I'm going to have two. I'm going to buy an extra wiring harness, pigtails that I can hook in myself. But I'm going to put it all on a breakout box. You know what a breakout box is, essentially?
Is that like a separate fuse box kind of deal?
Sort of. Yeah, that's the easiest way to explain it. But I want to have it to where when I turn the key off, I can swap from this ECU to another ECU. I'm going to wire the ECUs together, but I'm just going to have it where I can shut the power and ground off to this computer and turn the power and ground on to this computer,
Oh.
so I can have a race tune preset and a
Oh.
daily driver preset. And the only thing I have to do is shut the vehicle off and swap and hit two switches.
It's kind of like in my Mazda, in my Nissan. I got the little sport switch and
Yeah.
the little eco switch, right? Or the normal, just neither.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Essentially essentially it's just like that,
right.
but where this is an older car, all that's able to be stored in preset settings. I can't do that with this car. I would have to literally carry a laptop around with me and
Right.
take 15 minutes to adjust and to export the tune that's in it and install a new tune. So
Okay.
I'm
Right.
gonna try to have two so I can just pull it over, start it, wait a couple seconds, flick a couple switches, start it back up. And what I'm also going to do is um, have you seen those how they have it slipped my mind the name of it. How they can take and mount them onto the exhaust cutout. I don't have an electronic cutout, exhaust cutout.
No, I
But I
haven't
want to
seen
have
those.
okay, so it welds to your factory exhaust, but it looks like a throttle plate.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can open that exhaust so the exhaust comes out shorter. So I'm going to have a cutout that has an exhaust pipe coming out behind my passenger wheel where I can shut it so it'll be loud for race, and then I can shut it, and the exhaust will come out the back of the car, so I won't get a
Oh.
ticket for everyday driving.
Right. 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 Right.
You want the cutouts because the whole exhaust system in its entirety, the length of it with the roundness, there is a back pressure because it can only push so much out at once
Right.
through the long pipe.
Right.
So it caught so with the exhaust coming out where it would be, it either gonna be behind the passenger wheel or I may have it come out the fender. I may cut a hole and have it come out the fender.
Okay.
Um, Not for sure on that. The details is going to come out where it comes out at. If I can pipe it, I want to pipe it. If I can't,
Right.
it's going to come out. Since I don't want the back pressure, so I can make more horsepower.
Right. 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 Okay. I understood what you're talking about because like sometimes uh guys around here will fucking put straight pipes so that
Oh
shit's loud as fuck.
yeah. Oh, here's a good pointer for any people that listen to your podcast. If you think you have a catalytic converter going out,
Mm-hmm.
you can take your hand and put over the exhaust pipe, and if it does not blow your hand off and shuts the vehicle down, you have a blockage in your exhaust pipes. More than likely, your catalytic converter, your
So
catalyst is stopped
if
up.
you put your hand over it and it shuts the car off.
Yes, or makes it stutter, or like the engine will
Oh,
stutter, or shut it completely off if
like
the catalytic
like
converter is stopped up really bad. Yes.
okay, all right. Like there's too much carbon in there.
Yep. Too much carbon that the catalyst cannot burn
Oh,
out.
okay. So here's a neat little thing that I don't know how familiar you are with the DEF system on
Pretty familiar. I've
oh
worked on a lot of them. We have bad problems. GM has bad problems with the diesel exhaust fluid. Well,
I hate that stuff. And
yep.
I'm a driver. Uh but what you're saying is exactly what will shut down a big truck that has a diesel exhaust fluid system on it
Yep.
is it'll shut down and it'll do what's called a regen. It'll heat the exhaust over 1,000 degrees so it kicks out
Yep.
all that
It'll it burns up all the carbon that
all the
is built
carbon
up.
that's in there. Yep. So Yeah, I've been trucking along middle of the night. All of a sudden, the truck's like 5 miles an hour.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh shit. And I limp off the fucking road and I'm like, all right, what's the issue? And, usually on some of the newer trucks, they have the little window, little electronic window that you can hit a button and it'll tell you the code. You hit the
Yep.
code and you're like, oh, fuck. Okay. One night. Okay. So normally you're able to fucking hit a button and it tells the truck to go ahead and start the regen, and we'll just sit here for whatever it is, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
One night
So,
it wouldn't do it.
oh man. Now, I'm not meaning to cut you off, but I did not know this. GM trucks, if you're interstate driving, they will regen while you're driving. The
Okay,
6 Duramax will regen. We'll do a soft regen.
right. So that is what it's supposed to do. But let's say you've been sitting there idling for forever and you've built up way too much carbon and
It
it's
won't
not
let it.
efficient, it won't let you. Uh I had this habit during the summer. I would let it idle because while you're getting unloaded and shit, it's 100 degrees outside. I don't want to turn my air conditioner off, and I don't have an APU on this truck. On this truck, an APU is something that runs the air conditioning, runs the electrical, runs all that shit. It's like a little mini generator. Okay,
Yeah, while the engine's shut off.
right. While the engine's shut
Yeah.
off, so you're not really you're burning. I believe it's like a quarter of a gallon an hour compared to 1 gallon an hour.
Yeah.
So you're. Anyways, so I call into the repair shop, and I'm like, I call the 24-hour line. I wake this dude up. Fucking, he's pissed. I'm like, bro, my truck is dereg to 5 miles an hour. I cannot go. I am on the side of the I'm on the frontage road of the interstate. I was able to make it off the interstate. And he goes, what's going on? And I'm like, it won't regen. And he's like, are you serious? Dude, it was $600 to get the tech out there to force the regen.
Oh yeah.
Fucking,
It
I
is
was,
absolutely.
yeah, I was like, dude. And he had to sit there with me the entire time while it regened. Like he couldn't just start it, unhook, and go. He had to
The
make,
scanner has to stay hooked up
yep,
the whole time or it'll
the,
kick it out.
yep, yep. I didn't know that. I was like, oh, dude. That's why, that's why diesel mechanics are like, I hate doing force regens. But anyways, I have a lot of issues when it comes to diesels and whatnot. I mean, I love them for their fuel mileage. Well, they used to get good fuel mileage. Now with all this extra crap that they put on there, they don't get good fuel mileage anymore. I had an '84 Silverado, right? It had a 6.2 liter V8, uh,
Yeah.
and I got 32 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, 32 miles. So I could go to Phoenix, right? I go to Phoenix. I could drive around, go to Phoenix, drive around, and drive back, and then still have the secondary tank to run back and forth to work. But when I lived in California, this was a long time ago. But yeah, I used to, dude, that truck. Oh man, I missed that truck, dude. I missed that Silverado. But of course, now that was back. That was back when diesel was $1 a gallon. And for some of you who are like, what? That was $1. It must have been a long time ago. No, it wasn't that fucking long ago. It was about 20 years ago. But I
now,
digress.
now, diesel here is like 405 a gallon right now.
I'll tell you what it is here. Just a second. Uh, Fuel prices. OKC. Here, we'll just go with average prices. So for us, what the hell? It's like 3 something.
That's not bad. That's not what I figured it'd be more expensive there.
Mm-mm. Let me see what the cheapest diesel price is. Okay, these are all gas prices. I don't want gas prices. I want diesel prices. But it's still all right. So it's about $1 more. So it's 2.83 for cheap gas,
That's how much gas is here.
and
Is
then
the price of your all's diesel?
it's probably, let me see here. Oh, here we go. I can fucking switch it to diesel. 2.99. 2.99 is the cheapest I can find it. But at the Pilot it's 3.09. The truck stops 319, 322. You're looking at, yeah, it's about $3 a gallon here. It did get up to about $5 a gallon, $6 a gallon. Uh,
COVID.
yeah, during COVID.
Now, how was it when Obama was in office?
I didn't live here then,
Oh, okay.
but I still have friends that live in California. And during COVID out in California, they had $8 an hour, $8 an hour, $8 a gallon prices out there, and that's crazy. My friend that lives out there, he was like, "Yeah, man, we're riding bicycles. We can't afford to." He rides motorcycles. He's like, "I can't even afford to put gas in my motorcycle." It it was it was bad. It was horrible.
It sounds
So
like it.
yeah. So preference for you would be uh economy car. Well, I mean, I know you like racing, so anything that you can hook up. But I mean, like, so the
I like about any four-cylinder. It's gonna sound crazy. About any four-cylinder I can get a lot of power out of and still get decent gas mileage.
I'm right there with you, brother. I used to be. I'm gonna tell you right now. I used to be back in the day. I was like, if it ain't V8, I don't want it, right? And then I was like, all right, this gas is getting a little expensive. All right, I'll drive a V6 for a little bit. We'll see how that goes. And now I'm just like, hey, look, uh, for $35, I can drive all week and all
Give me
weekend.
a Ross burner. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I got my. That's why I got my Ford. You know, my Ford is put together by Mazda. I mean, or Mazda's. It's the same fucking truck.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like all the parts come from over there, anyways.
What year is it?
Oh shit! What year is my truck? 2008. It's 2005. She says
No
it's
reason.
two.
No reason I asking. I didn't know if it was the older one that had the B series engine. Because those things, you could build some fucking power out of them boys.
Um, I don't know if it has the B series engine in it. I'd have to check the VIN because it's got the original engine in it.
Yeah, because you could build some serious power out of those little things.
Okay, now I remember what I was going to ask you. Okay, now that we're talking about foreign, Mazda, Nissan, uh, these Japanese and the Asian cars, Asian manufactured cars. Uh, is it true? Do they run those cars for 100,000 miles before they ship them over here?
Not exactly that engine. They run those engines for a couple hours. Okay.
Okay, because growing up, that was the thing. Like people were like, "Yeah, don't buy those Toyotas and don't buy those Nissans and don't buy those cars from over there because they run them for 100,000 miles, then they swap out the engines and they send us their scraps."
No.
Yeah, because I was just wondering. I was wondering about that. I
Man,
didn't.
even if that's the case, people are still getting 400,000 miles out of the Toyotas, and if they have 100,000 miles on them already, that's fucking amazing.
Right. Right. Sorry, I turned myself down just a hair. Anyways, okay, so we so definitely buy something Toyota or Nissan.
I don't like no. Stay away from Nissan.
Stay away from Nissan. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Well, now you've piqued my interest.
Okay, a lot of people like them because they can't feel them shift, but the CVT transmissions,
I hate that fucking thing. I have one.
yeah, that's not good.
Now,
For the simple fact, CVT, you know, like how in mopeds and go karts they have a clutch and a belt.
yep,
CVT transmission is that way, but besides the fact that it's chain and pulley instead of having a belt,
right.
it's just a chain. That's the only difference. It has a chain. It's the
S-
same,
So you know what?
essentially. About
I get it. I get it. It's essentially the same. That as it starts spinning faster, it shifts to the next gear.
yeah,
Right.
and
And
they just don't hold up.
right. Okay. So let me tell you, they sent me a postcard, Nissan. Hey, so if you have issue with your car, bring it in, and uh we'll swap out your transmission for free. Now, at the time, I wasn't having issue with my transmission.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right? Now, I'm like, I got the cruise control set. I'm on the fucking interstate and it's going right? I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
what the fuck? What? And it's you can feel it shifting now. And I I'm ready to trade it in.
Yeah, I get
Seriously.
that.
I'm ready to fucking be like, hey, look, somebody take this piece of shit off my hands.
Well, um, no, everything's either like Mopar, GM,
Right.
Ford.
Yeah.
Did you know that Chrysler or Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, whatever, is owned by Fiat and they use Mercedes Benz transmissions?
No, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I
Yep.
knew I see the only okay, I'll tell you the only transmissions I've ever done any work on myself were transmissions for big trucks.
Out of a 5-day work week, probably 3 days, at least 2 days a week, I'm working on transmission.
Mm. I figured you'd have a transmission guy in your shop.
I am that guy.
Oh,
I'm that everything.
right.
Transmissions, engines,
Yeah.
you name it, homie. I can fix it and rebuild it.
Oh wow. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to fly you out here and fix my truck. No, I'm just kidding. Uh no, you know what? Here's what I here okay. So I've owned a few Mazdas. I've owned a couple of Fords, which the Mazda and the Ford, like I said, Mazda and the Ford are basically the same truck. Um the Ford, and I'll
Yeah.
tell you this, it doesn't matter how much you fucking grease the front end. I'm going down the road and it's going squeak, 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 and I make a turn and it goes squeak, and I'm like,
Yep.
fucking, I'm grease everything. Fucking, what the fuck? Will you just be quiet? But then I ran one of the guys I work with. He's like, yeah, man, dude, all Fords are like that. I'm like, are you serious? Fucking no way. Because like you pull out of a fucking driveway and you're like, and it's like people are looking at your truck going, that fucking truck sounds like it's about to die. Uh, I don't know. I don't know.
My old car, the struts were horrible on it.
Yeah, you know what? That's what I got to do. I got to change. There's a leaf spring in the back I got to change, and then I've got to change. I got to change all the shocks too, because it's. I think that might be partially what it is, because I haven't changed the shock since I got it, and I drive down country roads in it, and they're not exactly flat.
I get you.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see what else. What else is there? What kind of okay, does it matter what kind of oil you put in an engine? Like if the if if the manufacturer specs are let's say for conventional oil, right? You say, hey, it's 5W20 or whatever, 5W30, right? And
Yeah.
can you take out the conventional and put in synthetic?
Yes. Okay.
Do you have to
Um,
change the filter to a different filter though? Or can you run like the
I
regular
always
filter?
advise to just use a regular filter, but
Okay.
use a new one.
Oh yeah, of
Now,
course.
I do always advise. Okay, it's gonna sound messed up. Also, um, say your car has conventional in it. It's an older vehicle. All
Hmm.
modern day vehicles either use a blend or full synthetic.
Right.
Okay. Once you use synthetic, you cannot go back to conventional because you will have massive oil leaks.
Right. Okay.
So once you go synthetic, you have to stay there as synthetic or a synthetic blend.
Okay.
That's about the only thing with now. Um, say your car calls for 520 and the only thing you have is 530 or 020.
Hmm.
You can use it one time. It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Right.
Now you if it's around the same viscosity and stuff, it's okay. But if it calls for 530 and the only thing you have is 040 because Toyota runs 0W40 now a lot. You
Okay.
can't you can't really run 040 in something that's supposed to be like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Okay. So, all right. So why? Okay. So now I'm kind of curious. So if you're running conventional and you switch to synthetic, and then you decide, oh, synthetic's too expensive, I'm going to switch back to conventional. Why does it leak?
The thickness and the cleaners that's in it weakens the gaskets, and then as soon as you put conventional back in there, it will harden them up,
Oh,
and they leak.
okay. That's madness. That's crazy. I never thought about that. Because like most of the most of the gaskets that I've replaced on mine were rubber, right?
Uh huh.
But the gasket for
They
the
those harden up too.
do they?
Yep.
Oh, maybe that's why my fucking gasket was leaking that one time. Then it fucking hardened up. I don't know. It didn't, because when I took it apart, it didn't seem like it blew out. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of curious of why it would leak, and then it caused a misfire, and there was all kinds of other
Valve cover
issues.
gasket.
Yep.
Man, how would I have known that?
Because where the freaking spark plugs are, that's the other thing. Spark plugs, like I remember the spark plug being on the side. These are on top, you know? And
Yeah.
it's oh man, that design is just it's weird. I have an issue with changing those spark plugs. Um but I ended up having to change the coil and everything on that because it blew out the coil. No, what? It's not a
Your
coil.
spark plug, your valve covers went out, and your spark plug hose were filled full of oil, wasn't they?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, okay. You got to also think like this. That gasket's rubber. Your truck's coming up on 200,000 miles.
Yeah.
that probably wasn't due to you swapping oils around. That was probably just due to age. You got to think every time you start that car up, it's going to get hot, and you turn it off, it's going to get cold. That
Right.
rubber's eventually going to harden and become brittle and crack.
Well, I haven't switched the oils. So
Oh, I thought you said you did. My
no,
bad.
no, I was asking because you had mentioned that. You had mentioned that if you go from conventional to regular or
Yeah.
conventional to synthetic and back, I was like, "Oh, okay." But, like you said, a car when you run a truck and it gets hot, or a car and it gets hot and then it cools off and heats up and cools off, heats up and cools off, heats up and cools off. That goes for anything. Anything that heats up and cools off will eventually wear anything out, you know.
Uh huh.
That goes for a lot of things like electronics or uh cars, windows. If you heat up, windows that are eh, I used to do windows on houses. Okay, so windows on the light side in the afternoon
Mm-hmm.
will lose their will wear out or deteriorate faster than the ones on the shady side.
Yeah.
That's just how everything works. So, all right. So we've covered pretty much every little thing. Do you have a preferred parts store? And I'm not saying,
O'Reilly's.
and I was gonna say they are not a sponsors. All right. So, but
O'Reilly sponsored. I buy a lot of parts there. I spend a whole lot of money.
I like them, and if O'Reilly's can't get it, I'll go over and pay the extra money and get it from Napa because
Napa.
Napa.
Napa, man, I don't like Napa. I've had the worst luck from Napa.
I
I've
tell you
had
what,
so,
I've had to find some hard to find parts, and I've fucking called every single other fucking auto parts store. I call Napa. Oh yeah, we got that. I can have it here tomorrow. I'm like, are you fucking serious? So that's my experience with Napa. I mean, they're not my first choice, because they're expensive. I think they're overpriced.
they are overpriced. They are overpriced in their electrical parts. I've had bad luck out of. Another gasket, another company I don't like to use for electrical parts and anything really is Dorman. I do not like Dorman parts.
Dorman. Who uses Dorman?
About every parts store has Dorman as an option typically.
Okay. So, all right. All right. So what about remanufactured parts?
They're okay. I mean,
Like if you can't afford a, OEM, like OEM is like fucking $400 and a remanufactured part is like 200. I I sometimes it depends on what it is. For me, and that goes with anything. It depends on what it is. If it's something that I can afford to fix down the road with something OEM, then I'll go.
the OEM side of it that really don't affect me. As long as the other part gets the job done, the OEM side, if it's OEM or not, don't I don't care on that.
Okay. So it just matters that if the part is good or not, right?
Right.
Yeah. You know what? That's what my brother always told me. He works for. He works
And
for.
sometimes
Okay. Something.
uh aftermarket is better than OE.
Really? Like aftermarket, like doors and windows, or aftermarket.
Doors and windows, sensors, um aftermarket engine and transmission internals instead of OEs.
Right. Okay. That's That's interesting. I would have never thought that. But I would, you know, me being just Joe Blow, I'm like, yeah, I got to get
Okay,
OEM. I got to get OEM.
so
OEM's
everybody has them. I mean, everybody's seen them.
right.
The Equinoxes and Terrains from like 2010 to 16, they ran the Ecotech 2.4 liter engine.
Right.
The timing in them is terrible. The timing, the pistons and rings, typically about 70,000 miles, the engine needs rebuilt every 70,000 as long as you use OE parts. Now, I can't tell you why, but they do. If you use aftermarket parts, you do the job once and it's typically good. Now, the crazy thing is, a lot of people run like the little Pontiac cars, I can't remember the name of them.
Right.
Little Pontiac, like the
Like the
G6s, or
Fieros.
like the no Pontiac G6, like in the mid 2010s, early
Okay.
2010s and stuff.
Okay.
Everybody ran those cars, and like the Chevy Cobalt ran an Ecotech engine.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 2.2 liter.
Right.
It's the same. Everything is identical, but the pistons and rings. But the 2.2 does not have timing, bad timing, even though they're identical. I don't know why. They just do.
So okay. All right. Here's a dumb question. 2.2 and 2.3. What does that refer to? Like,
Liters.
is that how big the pistons are? The size of the
No, that is in your cylinder when the piston is at bottom dead center
uh huh.
to the top of the head. That is how much room is in that cylinder.
Okay. All right. So it is basically cylinder size.
Yes.
So like if I've got 5.0, then there's 5 liter that can fit in the cylinder. Okay. Hey dude, I'm learning shit. Cuz I know a lot somewhat, but like when you guys are sitting there talking about, yeah man, that's got a 3.2 fucking D double cam, and I'm like, you lost me at fucking 5.2, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like some of that stuff is like
And you hear a lot of the older generation say stuff like, if I wanted a 2 liter, I would go grab a Pepsi. You know what I mean?
yeah, 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 for
And
sure.
yeah, I mean, that's the case, but on the way to get that 2 liter of Pepsi, I want to use 50 cents of gas when you're using $3,
Right,
$10.
right. And that's the thing now. That's the thing now is fuel mileage, right? Fuel mileage. You want to get the most bang for your buck. That's it. 4 cylinder will do
Everybody.
it. You know, for a daily driver, a 4 cylinder is all you really need. I mean, unless you're running the job site, you're hauling lumber, you're hauling this and that, you don't need anything more than that. And even
Well, okay, GM has a 2.7 liter turbo truck
right,
that it makes like 400 and it's 350 horsepower and like 430 foot-pounds of torque.
mm-hmm,
For a half-ton truck, that's all you need even to haul or pull. That makes the same as a V8 truck.
right,
That's all you need. But you have where you're getting fucking 30 miles to the gallon
yeah,
instead of 12.
right, okay,
It's just everybody's what they're like and what they're used to, per se.
all right. So I'm in the market for a new pickup, right?
Yeah.
I've decided that I'm gonna get a Silverado half ton.
Mm-hmm. What years are you looking at? Because I'll tell you whether to go with it or not, and I'll give you my honest opinion.
Okay, so there's a local dealer. They had a few, And I know I hadn't talked to you about this yet. I was gonna talk to you. Let me look up the website because we were looking at the website. Now she wants to look at the what's the Chevy you want, babe? The Colorado. Yeah, she likes the look of the Colorado. Okay,
Absolutely. Those are pretty good cars.
think so?
Now, they are pretty good trucks.
Okay,
They truly are. Now, if you can, now, as much as I don't like diesel, they make a baby diesel in those Colorados and Canyons.
okay. I
If
want to.
I if I ever owned
Okay,
a GM truck, it would be the GMC Canyon with that diesel in it. That is the only truck that I have not seen any problems, and they have been making them for about
Colorado.
6 years now. They have them in the Colorados too, but I
Okay,
myself, I just think the GMCs have look better.
cause I can pick up a Colorado for like 40 grand, but I pick up a Silverado for like 60.
Yep,
You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like,
it's the same transmission also.
is it? Well, see,
Yep,
we're looking for the 4 door. That's the thing. And the Colorado
yeah,
comes standard with the 4 door.
yep.
So these are all 2023s, but we were looking at some used Silverados. When was it? 2000.
Okay, can I give you another piece of advice real quick?
Yep.
Okay, I've been in the car industry for a long time now. I've seen so many people make the mistake of getting a used one over a new one because it's $20,000 less. Okay,
Okay.
but by the time you get done paying that off, you're going to be paying the same because of interest. The interest is so much more expensive on the used one that it's going to end up being the same cost at the end of your loan.
Really?
Yes.
I never fucking thought of it that way.
Yeah, and you also have that bumper to bumper warranty.
Right.
You have that bumper to bumper. You have the full powertrain warranty. Anything the first oil change is free.
Oh wow, this one is only asking 750 cash. Fucking- Don't get me looking at cars, bro, because I'll be like, oh, I start drooling on the microphone and everything. Um, so so you're saying I that a Colorado is decent because
Colorado,
I had told her that
Colorados are decent.
someone
The
had
newer
told me
ones
that
are.
someone had told me that Colorados were trash, and I was like, I trust their judgment, but I also know that they don't drive. I think they're what is it called? Bias. I think they're biased because what they drive. they he drives a 3/4 ton Chevy. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, people just have that thing where, oh, this is bigger, it's better. No.
yeah, it's not always the case. Because I kind of like the look of the Colorado. I'll tell you which one I don't like is that Z71, the old one. I don't think they make it anymore. The one where the back window come out and the back wall came out.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. You know which Colorado I like the best? The
What's that?
Boston edition, the Bison edition.
The Bison edition. Okay.
Shut up.
All right. So let's see here. Let's go.
Now, all the engines in those Colorados are pretty good. The 3.6 is very good. The 2.0 is very good.
I heard. Okay. So at the um let's see here. At my job, they have a full size half ton. I don't remember. I'm not sure if it's a Silverado or not, but it's got the 4 cylinder in it.
Yeah.
And that thing is a fucking workhorse, dude. This thing has 5 miles, 5 miles, 5 miles. These are all
That's that
brand new.
for the Colorado
N-
or the full size.
No, it's the full size.
Yeah, it's got that I think it's a 2.7 liter turbo gasoline engine. They are fast as shit too. If you think about it, for what they are, it's a full size truck with a 4 cylinder. They're pretty fast.
Right. They are. Okay. Show options. That's what I want to do. Show. I don't want payment options. I want fucking. These are all there's no Colorados over there at this place. But
Now you can also dealer trade. If you find one at a different dealer you want, but you don't want to drive there, you can dealer trade it, and they'll ship it to that dealer.
yeah, dude, all of these have 4 cylinders, all 6 of them. So there's no option for any bigger engine, and that means that I'll get decent gas mileage with it. And it's got cruise, Android Auto, backup camera, Bluetooth, keyless entry, lane warning, lane assist. Comes with lane assist. Are you serious? I don't want that.
Man, I don't know. I like it. Take your hands off the steering wheel, and it stays between the lines.
You know, if I was smoking weed, probably. I'm just kidding. Don't drink and drive or smoke and drive, you guys. I'm just kidding. All right. All right.
Yeah, who does that?
I
That's
know,
illegal.
really. What kind of fucking asshole does that shit? Anyways, let's go ahead and stop it right here. Uh it's been fun, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Uh we'll catch you guys next week. I'm your host, Blue Collar Joe, and we're